My husband was left alone for 3 weeks, and I wish he'd just cheated instead. I don't even know how to begin explaining the absolute chaos I came home to after leaving my husband alone for 3 weeks. When I left, I really thought I could trust a 41-year-old man to handle basic adult survival. I wasn't worried. I wasn't nervous. I packed my bag, kissed him on the cheek, reminded him that the dog likes to go out 3 times a day, and I left for my work trip. He even joked, "Don't worry about me. I'll hang back, game a little, order some pizza. I'll be fine." And I believed him, because who wouldn't? He's not a teenager, he's not a college student, he's a full grown man. But the very first sign that something was wrong came on the second day. I was in my hotel room, trying to get a good night's sleep before a long day of training, when my phone buzzed with a text. It simply said, "How do you stop the smoke alarm?" Now, normal people would assume he burnt some toast or maybe overcooked something. But with my husband, I had a sinking feeling in my stomach. I called him immediately, and what he told me still doesn't sound real, even though I saw the aftermath with my own eyes. He decided he was going to become a grill master. The problem? We don't own a grill. So, in his infinite wisdom, he stacked 3 baking sheets on top of each other inside the oven, poured lighter fluid over them, and set the whole thing on fire. The smoke alarm was blaring for 40 straight minutes. He said the neighbors were pounding on the walls, the dog was howling, and he was running around with a bath towel trying to wave away the smoke. The oven now permanently smells like gasoline, and every time I turn it on, the faint scent of a gas station barbecue fills the kitchen. When I asked him why he thought this was remotely okay, he actually said, "Well, you always say you wish I cooked more, so I figured I'd get into grilling." As if setting the kitchen on fire was the same thing as making dinner. And as if that wasn't bad enough, only a couple of days later, he fell into what I can only describe as a TikTok-induced psychosis. He discovered minimalism. I don't know what corner of the internet whispered in his ear, but he suddenly decided that we only need one of everything in the kitchen. One bowl, one cup, one plate, that's it. So he went through the cabinets and just threw everything out. And of course, he didn't keep the useful stuff. No, that would have made too much sense. When I came home, I found that the only bowls we had left were a giant salad bowl and the dog's water dish. That's it. He threw away my favorite ramen bowls, the mugs I've collected from every vacation we've taken, the wedding dishes, everything. Gone. When I confronted him, he just shrugged and said, "Minimalism. You'll thank me when you see all the space in the cabinets." As if empty cabinets are somehow more valuable than having dishes to eat off of. By the end of the first week, he had completely abandoned the idea of cooking altogether. Apparently, the near fire incident spooked him because he switched to what he called easy efficiency eating. In reality, this meant he bulk ordered a shipment of frozen burritos, 20 of them. And for the next 3 weeks, that was his entire diet: breakfast burrito, lunch burrito, dinner burrito, midnight snack burrito. That's all he ate. At first, he at least microwaved them, but somewhere in the middle of week 2, he stopped bothering. He started eating them partially frozen because, in his words, it's basically a cold wrap and it saves electricity. He said this with a straight face, like it was some kind of brilliant life hack. Do you know how unsettling it is to hear your 41-year-old husband crunching through icy tortilla while telling you proudly that he's being efficient? Even the dog stopped begging at the table because he knew there was nothing but burritos. And speaking of efficiency, he apparently decided laundry was optional. He completely stopped washing clothes. Instead, he rotated between the same 2 pairs of basketball shorts for the entire 3 weeks I was gone. By the time I came home, they had fused into a stiff, crusty fabric that was no longer recognizable as clothing. They looked like they could stand up on their own. The smell was indescribable, and the dog would literally growl at him whenever he sat down, which, honestly, I completely understood. When I asked him why he didn't just run a load of laundry, he said, "I didn't want to waste water on just a few things." Just a few things? That's the entire point of laundry. You wash things before they become biohazards. By the time I finally got home at the end of the trip, I thought maybe, just maybe, things couldn't be as bad as he made them sound over the phone. Maybe he was exaggerating. Maybe I was overreacting. But the moment I opened the front door, I knew I was wrong. The smell hit me first. It was an unholy combination of burnt plastic, ranch dressing, and stale air. I walked into the living room, and there he was. My husband. My 41-year-old husband. Shirtless, sweaty, sitting cross-legged on the floor, playing a recorder. Yes, a plastic recorder. The same kind that elementary school kids play when they're forced to learn hot cross buns. He had ordered it off Amazon because, and I quote, Mozart slapped. The sound coming out of that thing was less Mozart and more like a duck being exercised. The dog had officially relocated to the bathtub at this point and would not come out. His eyes looked haunted, like he'd seen things no dog should ever have to see. And the worst part? My husband didn't even look embarrassed. He looked proud, like he had discovered a new passion in life. Later that night, I tried to go to sleep, but I couldn't stop thinking about everything I'd walked into, the smell, the mess, the recorder. And then, just when I was finally drifting off, I heard him mumbling in his sleep. At first, I thought it was gibberish, but then I heard it clearly. He whispered, "I am the burrito." That was it. That was my breaking point. This morning, I packed up the dog, who now refuses to leave the bathtub willingly, and I went to a cafe. I ordered a coffee, and when the barista asked if I wanted almond milk, I almost burst into tears. I just shook my head and said no, because my house is already nut-based chaos. Now I'm sitting here sipping coffee like it's holy water while my dog shakes under the table like a war veteran. And all I can think is that I wish he just cheated. I wish that's what I came home to, because at least that would be easier to explain to my friends, my family, my neighbors. How do you even begin to tell people that your husband nearly set the house on fire trying to grill in the oven, threw away all your dishes because TikTok told him to, lived exclusively on frozen burritos, sometimes still frozen, refused to do laundry until his shorts became cardboard, and then decided to learn the recorder at age 41? I love him, but dear God, these 3 weeks broke something in me. And if anyone out there is wondering if their spouse can survive alone for a few weeks, let me just say, pray for them and for your house, and maybe warn your neighbors ahead of time, because some people should not be left supervised. And apparently, my husband is one of them.